And the Pope is making a push towards unity within the Church. For Novo Sordo, the Roman Rite celebration of the Mass that emerged after the Second Vatican Council, the Pontiff has published a meditation on liturgical formation, asking the faithful to abandon the controversial divide of the old and the new rites and support the role the liturgical celebration has in the urgent task of sharing the faith. EWTN News Executive Editor and Washington, D.C. Bureau Chief Dr. Matthew Bunson joins us now to discuss Pope Francis's message to the Church and his most recent statements. Matthew, it's so great to have you here with us. Pope Francis has been front and center in many discussions. Let's start with his letter, Desiderio Desideravi. First, what is an apostolic letter?
Well, in the list of papal documents, an apostolic letter doesn't carry the same sort of weight, for example, as an encyclical or other types of documents. We think of the apostolic constitution that he used to reform the Roman Curia, and most recently, Traditionis Custodes, that really cracked down, so to speak, on the traditional Latin Mass, which is a motu proprio, which is a type of apostolic letter, but actually has more weight. In this case, an apostolic letter is a reflection on the part of the Pope, who's trying to impart important teachings to individuals and to the whole of the Church. So this is really a part of Francis's mind. In this case, his reflections and meditations on the liturgy as it connects to the traditional Latin Mass, but to the importance of the celebration of the Eucharist properly by the Church.
A more broad call to come back to church and to come back to that sacrifice. And you said something that I thought was really interesting, that his motu proprio, which was about the Latin Mass, and then this follow-up letter, are they connected? Did this prompt the need for it, having the motu proprio?
Yeah, I think they're intimately connected. What we have in Desiderio Desideravi is the Pope's effort to provide additional context to Traditionis Custodes. In other words, this is a document that the Pope intends to use to try to explain why he issued Traditionis Custodes, why he took these steps to limit the celebration of the traditional Latin Mass, but really more his reflections, again, on the importance of the Mass being celebrated properly, which goes to the heart in many ways of Traditionis Custodes. So the two really fit together as a whole. There have been some who have observed that it might have been really beneficial to Francis and to everyone had he issued this apostolic letter first and then gone to Traditionis Custodes, because this one really is at times a very profound reflection on the Eucharist, on the Mass, and the importance of celebrating it properly.
A beautiful reflection for sure. And for Americans specifically, after the launch of the Eucharistic revival that we just celebrated, the Holy Father's reflection on the substance and not just the representation that Christ truly is present in the Mass is top of mind. Why is that so important, Matthew?
Well, for American Catholics, for all Catholics, we need to be reminded of the real presence of the Eucharist, that the Eucharist is the source and summit of the Christian life. We see poll after poll in the United States that belief in the real presence is hovering around 50%. We found that in recent EWTN News Real Clear Opinion Research polls. You've had the number as low as 33% in the Pew Research polls. So there is a kind of Eucharistic crisis, certainly on the part of many Catholics, average Catholics in the pews. And the Eucharistic revival is intended not just to help increase the belief in the real presence, but to really increase reverence and love of the Eucharist for all Catholics. So this document on the part of the Holy Father fits into certainly the American effort to have this type of revival for the spiritual benefit of Catholics, which means also the spiritual benefit of the entire world.
Absolutely, and a reminder to live Sunday to Sunday and really understanding what our daily bread truly is. Aside from the Pope's letter, his interview with Reuters is slowly being shared with the world, and in it, he notes a potential agreement with China. What kind of agreement might be possible?
Well, what the Holy Father is referring to is the likely renewal of the agreement that we saw from 2018. So this has been renewed already in 2020. We don't have the actual text of it, but the Holy Father really defended this Chinese agreement that it was intended to do a couple things. The first is sort of regularize or normalize the life for Catholics in China, but hovering specifically over the question of the appointment of bishops. So there are those who are very fiercely critical of the Holy Father's diplomatic effort with China, seeing that China has already interfered on a variety of occasions, as far as we know, with the appointment of bishops. But there's heightened concern right now because of the impending, and what we've already seen is the growing crackdown on the Catholic Church and Christianity in general in Hong Kong. The Holy Father, though, is taking a much more long-term view on this, seeing the diplomatic efforts as very slow, very deliberate, hearkening to the relationship between the Catholic Church, the Holy See, and the Soviet bloc in the 1970s, what was called Ostpolitik. So he's sort of taking a page from Pope Paul VI's approach to deal with the communist regimes. He's hoping it works here as well.
I think that we have a lot to watch there, and like you said, a lot to pray for the people and the Catholic people in China for sure, and for our Holy Father. Thank you so much, Matthew.
Great to be with you.